So we're going to begin. You can all just lie down on your backs to start. That's fine. For anybody practicing at home, you'll need your inflatable ball or like a throw pillow from the couch or a little blanket or something that you can roll up, your yoga tune-up balls, and at least one block, maybe two, and a strap. So we're going to begin. Today we're going to do a total body rollout, mobilizing, strengthening, stabilizing thing. So we have our work cut out for us if we're going to get through the entire body. We'll see how far we get. You don't have the little balls? They're at the back of the room next to the inflatable balls in a little bag there. Yeah. So we'll begin today just by lying back in a comfortable position. And we'll start by checking in with our breath and the movement of your diaphragm. So all you need to do is get comfortable for this. It doesn't need to look like anything in particular. Just make sure that you feel relaxed and at ease in your body. And then bring your hands onto your belly. And we're going to explore sort of three abodes of your breath in your body. And the first is the abdominal region. So as you breathe in and out here, feel your belly rising and falling. And your belly inflates as you breathe in because your lungs inflate. And when your lungs inflate, your diaphragm contracts and moves down into the abdominal region, and then all your abdominal organs get pressed on, right? And they sort of bulge out, which creates this bulge in your belly. And as you exhale, your diaphragm domes back up inside the rib cage and the organs go along with it. And so your belly softens and sinks into your body. So you have this little internal organ massage going on all the time. That's what's happening under the surface of the skin. Now bring your hands around to the side walls of your rib cage. So you can fold your arms over the front of the ribs to hang on to your side ribs, or you can rest your elbows on the floor, taking the elbows out wide like wings and hold on to your side ribs there, whichever way feels more comfortable for you. And as you breathe in, feel your side ribs expanding into your hands. As you breathe out, feel them softening. And again, as the lungs fill, your ribs spread to make room for the expansion of the lungs. And as your lungs empty, the volume inside the rib cage shrinks to accommodate for that. So this is thoracic breathing, rib cage breathing. And the final abode of breath is your chest. So you can place your hands up on your breastbone. And as you breathe in and out, sense your breastbone rising and falling. So typically, this is where we breathe from when we're stressed. It's a stress breath. So we don't want to hang out too long in chest breathing. Good. Keep one hand on your chest, place the other hand on your belly. And we'll do what's called the yogic complete breath, which makes use of all three of these abodes of breath. So as you inhale, you feel your belly fill, and then your ribs, and then your chest. And as you exhale, empty out chest, ribs, belly. And we're starting with the breath because breathing is the single most important thing you do in a day. It's so fundamental that we ignore it, or even when we're thinking about doing exercise for our bodies, we often don't think about tuning up our diaphragm, which is your air pump. You can't go very long without a breath. Let's take another breath here, passing your breath from hand to hand. And as you arrive at the end of this next exhalation, you can release your hands and set them on the ground next to you. Good. And we're going to test our diaphragm vacuum this morning. For those of you that know the diaphragm vacuum, again, you can get on with it. For those of you that have never seen it before, I'll take you through it. And we're going to do this in bridge pose this morning. So begin with your knees bent and your feet resting on the ground. Your feet are just about hip width apart. If you've got height behind your head, you're going to want to remove that here. You can push it off to one side and just let the back of your head sit flat on the floor. And as you breathe in, you'll lift your hips up and lift your arms up. Keep your arms overhead and exhale, empty all the air out of your body. Squeezing all your core muscles to empty out, and then soften and lengthen your spine out along the ground. When you're ready to breathe, lower your arms down and take a breath. And you can take a few breaths there to refresh yourself. We'll do it again. Big breath in, lift your hips, raise your arms, keep the arms overhead. Exhale all the air out of your body. Once you've squeezed all the breath out, soften your core muscles and lengthen your spine out along the floor. And then when you're ready to breathe, lower your arms down by your sides and take a few deep breaths. Good. And then turn over onto your side, grab a hollow ball. And you're going to flip yourself over onto your belly facing the front of the room. And we're going to place this hollow ball in your belly. So you feel the pressure of the ball around your navel. And if you're not used to abdominal massage, it can feel like a lot, right? The first time that you do this, or some days even you just have a lot of tension in your belly, or you just ate a big breakfast and it feels like a lot. So you can always lighten the load by making this more of a plank and lifting your weight off of the ball. And you can create a heavier load and make the ball plunge in deeper by just giving yourself to gravity and letting your full weight come down onto the ball, right? You can be anywhere in between those two extremes, wherever feels right for you. And we're just going to start by moving the ball from side to side across the front wall of your abdomen. So the interesting thing, there's many interesting things, but one of the interesting things about your belly is that your belly is just the front of your back, right? And your back is the back of your belly. So oftentimes, like when we think about doing core work, right, people think about doing endless crunches. But the truth is that your back muscles are part of your core, right? Your abdominal muscles, front wall of the abdomen muscles are part of the core, back wall of the abdomen muscles are part of the core, side wall muscles are part of the core. So anything that moves your spine, we can consider a core muscle. And so when you have low back pain, for example, you don't always want to go and ream on your low back with the balls. You can affect the tensioning of the tissues in your low back by going in through your belly, right? So you might be able to feel that here. And the muscles that are on the front of your belly have direct attachments to the muscles that are on the back of your belly. So when you change the tone of the muscles in your gut, that talks to the tone of the muscles in your back as well. Now, the gut muscles that we happen to be rolling on here, they also thread directly into your diaphragm muscle, which is your primary muscle of breathing. And when you've got tension loaded into your belly, that can also inhibit the ability of your diaphragm to move well. So that's how this relates to our breath. We're just going to park the ball in place here on your belly. And as you breathe in, feel your stomach expand into the ball. When you get to the top of the breath, pause. Contract your waist, all of your waist muscles all the way around. And then exhale and soften. Good. Take a big breath in. Feel your belly swell. At the top of the breath, tighten your core muscles. And as you exhale, soften. Good. Take a big breath in. The top of the breath, pause. Tighten all the way around your waist like you're doing up a really tight belt. And exhale. Soften. Good. We'll do that one more time. Big breath in. Belly swells. Pause at the top of the breath. Tighten. And as you exhale, soften. Good. And then do another little mushy mush from side to side. Good. And we're going to remove the ball from the belly. You can turn over onto your back. And we're going to retest our abdominal vacuum. Or diaphragm vacuum. Good. So lie on your back, knees bent, feet on the floor. And just take a moment to reconnect with your breath. And on your inhalation, lift your hips and take your arms all the way up and over. Then exhale all the breath out. Leave your arms overhead. Soften your belly and lengthen your spine out along the ground. When you feel ready to breathe, lower your arms down and take your breath. Good. And let's do that again. So as you breathe in, hips lift, arms lift, leave the arms overhead. Exhale, empty every last bit of breath out of your body. Once you are empty, soften and lengthen your spine out along the ground. And when you're ready to breathe, you just lower your arms and take your breath. Good, we'll do that one more time. Big breath in, lift your hips, raise your arms. Pause at the top of the breath. Squeeze all the air out of your body. Soften your core and lower yourself down, leaving the arms overhead. When you're ready to breathe, then you lower your arms down and that releases the internal suction. Good. And take a few breaths to refresh yourselves here. Okay, turn over onto one side. We're going to make our way all the way up into standing. We're going to take our attention to the feet and the ankles. So we're going to start by testing a squat position. And for this squat, you'll take your feet out wider than hips width. That's okay if your feet are turned out a little bit. And then from here, you just want to see that your head stays situated on top of your ribs and your pelvis. So what I mean is, like as we come down into a squat, make sure that you don't turn into a gargoyle on the way down, right? So you want to keep the front wall of your torso nice and long. You can put your hands wherever. I'm going to bring mine into prayer because I'm a yoga person. And then you can go ahead and come into your squat. As you squat, everybody come back up for a second. Instead of thinking about taking your knees forward to squat, send your bum back into the year 2018 and let your knees bend as you do that. Yes. And then just notice how far down you're able to go. So ankles and feet are key to so much movement. So much of your mobility depends on the ability of your ankles to move well. And the ankle is often the limiting factor in your ability to squat. So just notice how low you go, how it feels here at the bottom of your squat, and then come back up. And we're going to see if we can make a change by rolling out our feet. You can take out the rubber balls and bring them right out of their tote. And we're going to visit our arches. So you have actually 3 arches in your foot. I know we often talk about the arch of the foot, but there are 3 arches. So one ball goes on the ground here, and we're going to start with your medial arch. It's the inner arch of your foot. So about halfway down the foot. You just want to see the color of the ball there at your instep. And you're just going to do a little swipe. So you move your foot to one side, and the ball goes to the other side. So if you have the ball under your right foot, it's like you're pivoting on your heel and moving your foot to the right. And as you do that, the ball moves to the left. The idea is that you want to grab the skin and that connective tissue on the sole of your foot, and you drag that one way with the ball, and the foot goes the other way. Do you know what I'm saying? And that creates something called shear, which is that when you get the connective tissues and the fatty layer, not that you have a lot of fat on your foot, but to slide across the muscle layer, and that starts to lubricate things internally and also heat things up. You might feel that as well. And then we're going to go out to your lateral arch. That's the arch on the outside of your foot. Good. And then again, same thing. So in slow motion, you're going to try to drag the skin out towards the outer edge of your foot as the foot turns in. And so you're just pivoting on your heel to make that happen. And you can always, if this is agony for you, you can lighten the load by leaning more into the standing leg and dropping less of your weight over that standing foot. So you do that by sort of bringing your upper body back over top of the foot that you're standing on, rather than leaning your upper body over the ball. Does that make sense? I take your silence as a yes. All right. And then go ahead and take the ball and move it up. We're going to go to the transverse arch, which is at that first row of bones below your toes. And here we're going to do this slow sweep of the ball from the baby toe over to your big toe. So you're thinking again about dragging all the skin on the sole of your foot over towards the big toe, and then reset it. You drag all the skin over towards the big toe. Burp. And then do that the other way. So from the big toe, it's like you're dragging all the skin on the sole of your foot over towards the baby toe side. Okay. And for our grand finale, you're going to take your big toe and put it on the ball and see if you can get the rest of your toes to sit on the floor. So maybe that happens and maybe it doesn't. You do your best with that, right? So we've got a deep hinge going on at the big toe here. And you'll take a step forward with your left foot, and like you're actually going to walk forward, you lift the back heel off the ground to whatever degree you can comfortably do that. And that takes your toe into an even deeper hinge, and then you just step back. Yeah. And then do it again. So the Latin name for a big toe bone is hallux, and hallux actually means to spring. When you walk, you're actually supposed to spring off the big toe in this sort of way. So this gets motion back into this big toe bone, and also stretches out the muscles on the sole of your foot. Good. Just do a couple more of those, back and forth, and then we're going to come off and stand on both feet. And notice the difference between your right foot and your left. There's someone, I can't remember who it was, but who described shoes as being like foot coffins. It's where like foot sensitivity basically goes to die, and your your ability to control your feet, right? So it's like your feet have just been, well, I feel like my foot's just been liberated. Like I've got all kinds of sensation going on in there. And that's when your foot only ever gets to sense. It's like it's being locked in a dark closet your whole life. You know what I mean? You don't get any stimulation. All you ever get to really sense is the slick, moist interior of your shoe, which is kind of a sad existence, right? There's I know, right? Well, depending on the foot. Okay, so we're going to switch balls out here so that we wear these down evenly, which you'll appreciate when you have two balls in your back. You don't want one that's hard and one that's soft. And we'll take the ball and put it in the instep on the other foot. So your heel stays on the ground, and you're just kind of pivoting on the heel, and you're dragging the ball towards the inside edge of the foot as your foot goes out towards the side of your mat, right? So the ball is going one way, the foot's going the other way, and you're thinking about, again, dragging the skin out to the inside edge of the foot with the ball. Good, and then move the ball to your lateral arch, the outer arch, and do the same thing. So now the foot pivots inwardly and the ball travels out toward the side of the room. Good. And then move the ball up to the ball of your foot. And let's start on the baby toe side of the ball of the foot. And you're going to move the ball over to the big toe side. And again, you're just thinking about dragging all the skin on the ball of the foot over to the big toe side as you go. And you're going to reset and do it again and drag all the skin from the baby toe side over to the big toe side. So it's a slow roll. Then we're going to go the other way. From the big toe side, you drag all the skin over to the baby toe side. We'll do one more time for good measure. And then we're going to go to the big toe on this side. So you place your big toe against the ball. See if you can get the rest of the toes to sit on the floor. Good. And then you take your little step forward and lift that back heel up off the ground like you're going to take a step forward. And then go ahead and step back. Good. And you'll just go forward and back a few times here, deepening the hinge of that big toe and stretching out the sole of your left foot. I'm just thinking about shoes again, and also like depending on the kind of shoes that you wear, a lot of shoes have really hard soles as well, right? So you end up walking with like weird flipper feet. So you have as many bones in your feet as you do in your hands. So there's the potential for like this much dexterity in your feet, and you'll see in people that don't have hands or arms, they do amazing things like unwrap a pack of cigarettes and smoke with their feet, or like play the piano or the guitar or paint with their feet. So your feet have that potential, but it's like putting your hands in oven mitts and wearing those around for your whole life, right? And you'd like just deprive yourself of all kinds of experiences. So who knows, maybe you'll leave here today and do something great with your feet and post it on Instagram for me. Okay, so you can step off the ball. Stand on your two liberated feet. And then we're going to retest our squat. So you can go wide with the feet. And again, you back your bottom way up out into the parking lot and then start to bend your knees and just notice if that changed anything about your squat. I definitely have gone deeper. So you can notice what's true for you here. Good. And then we're going to come all the way back up into standing. And we're going to do a little bit more footwork. So we'll come down onto the ground. And you're going to take out a strap for this. Start with your legs out in front of you. And then bend your knees. And you'll take the center of your strap and put it around the fronts of your ankles. And you crisscross the straps behind you. So it's like you're doing up a ballet slipper. You just keep crisscrossing in front and behind, in front and behind. And you want it to be nice and snug. So your ankles are stuck together. Good. And then just hang on to the tails of your strap. And you're going to swing those legs behind you like you're a mermaid. And then tuck the toes under. Okay. So, yeah, it can be intense. So here's how you alter the intensity in this position. Hands forward on the floor with your weight leaning forward makes the stretch in the soles of your feet much, much less intense. The more upright you bring yourself, right, the more your body weight comes down right over top of those big toes, the deeper a stretch you get in the soles of your feet. You can be, right, on any sort of angle in between those two extremes, so you're feeling a stretch in your feet, but it also feels tolerable, right? And then we can distract ourselves while we're here. So if you notice that you've got a lot of tension building around your jaw or around your shoulders, you can just go ahead and do some shoulder rolls. You can open and close your mouth, so yawning it open and closed. If you're rolling your shoulders, roll them the other way. Good. And then we're going to bring our hands back down onto the floor. And we're going to point the feet. Right, and at first that feels amazing, right? And then we start to lower our seat towards the feet on this angle. Right. So again, just to the degree that it feels appropriate for you, you're going to sit back. And this is going to send a stretch into the muscles that cross over your ankle, right? The muscles in the tops of your feet and into your shin muscles, like your tibialis anterior. And so again, right, you figure out where you need to be, right, in terms of intensity, and that's where you're going to be. And if you feel, again, a lot of tension creeping into your face or into your shoulders, you can roll those around. I sometimes like to take my arms up into the air and get a stretch through the side seams, so that's a possibility for you here. Good. And then bring your hands back down to the ground and take those legs and swing them back out in front of you. And we'll undo the strap. Ooh, let's come up and stand again. Let's try this squat one more time. So again, nice and wide with the feet. And they can be turned out. Back your bottom up. Sink down into your squat. Notice if anything's different. Good. And make your way all the way back up into standing. That's just from doing your feet. That's amazing, right? What a difference that can generate higher up. Okay, so next we're going to go into our hips. Let's take the balls and put them back in their tote bag. And we're just going to do a real quick and easy massage. This one's easy to follow along. You're going to lie down on the balls with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. And you'll just position the balls so that they're in one cheek. And we're going to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then we're going to do a position called the plow. And in the plow, I'm going to get you to put the balls just behind the side seams of your pants. And then just kind of lay on your side, and it's like you're trying to take all of your buttock tissue. And you know how the plows, the snow plows, left big piles of snow out in the parking lot, taking up parking spots? You're going to try to plow all of your buttock tissue over to one side, like you're trying to create a mono butt. Right? You're going to push all the tissue over to one side. It's not very functional, a mono butt. Okay, So you just start by putting the balls one on top of the other in your right buttock. Keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor because you're going to use your feet to help steer your body around. Yep, you can lie all the way back and swish your hips. Yep, let your shoulders and your head rest down on the floor. Just let everything go. And you just swish your hips from side to side so the ball rolls across your right cheek. If you want to drop your right knee out to the side, you can do that here as well. If you prefer to have that knee pointing up, that's also fine. So we're rolling over a whole bunch of your posterior hip muscles here at once. Like dozens of muscles with this one move. Okay, and then you're going to take the balls and park them just behind the right side seam of your pants and let your weight tip over onto your right side. So it feels like the balls are taking your side butt and pushing it onto the back of your body. Do you follow me? Okay, it's like you're just putting your butt onto the back of your body. Periodically, you can lift and reset and then plow your buttock tissue onto the back of your body again. Just using gravity and your body weight to push your right cheek over towards your left. Good, do that again. Reset and repush. Good, and then we're going to release. Oh, you can lie back for a moment to just notice how that feels. Why don't we do this? Contract both of your buttocks and notice any difference between your right and your left. So you may notice that you actually get a better contraction out of your right buttock now. So the thing about muscles is that they need to be able to lengthen fully in order to contract fully. Does that make sense? If it can't lengthen out all the way, it can't contract all the way. So for example, if I've got a lot of tension in my bicep and my elbow is permanently bent, I go to contract it and it can't go anywhere. I need my bicep to be able to lengthen out fully in order to contract it fully. So the same is true of your buttock muscles. You need to be strong, but you also need to be supple for optimal muscle function. Okay, let's go over to the other side. So balls go one on top of the other in your left cheek. And you're going to start just by swiping the ball from side to side. So it's going all the way across the fullest part of your left buttock, back and forth. You're going to bring the balls just behind the side seam of your underwear and let your weight tip to the left. So now it's like the balls are dragging the side of your buttock around onto the back of your body. And then reset and do that again. And one more time, reset. Good, and then release. And contract both buttocks. And notice how that left cheek contracts now compared to the right side if you just woke it up. Good, and then relax. We're going to do some mobilization work. I'll get you guys to roll over to one side and then have a look up at the front of the room. And we're going to do a hip sequence called the Half Happy Baby Mini Vinyasa. So for this, you may want a strap. We'll see how it goes. So the right leg comes into Half Happy Baby position. So your knee is directly underneath your ankle, your shins straight up and down. You can hold that with your hand, or you might need to put a strap around your foot in order to be able to get your leg into that position. So it's totally fine either way. We start by creating a pump. You pump the knee up and down. I want you to notice that my ankle is straight on top of my knee the entire time. That shin bone is straight up and down. So I'm not doing this. It's not that. pull with my arm and pull my knees straight down. And then after doing that several times, you're going to pass your foot over into your other hand and roll over and take a twist. And we'll go back and forth a few times. And then you're going to straighten this leg out and go. Like you're doing a wild can-can. Okay, let's do that.
What if our body doesn't do that?
You'd be amazed at what your body can do. All right. So hang on one second. So we're going to start just by doing a pump straight up and down. Yeah, shin straight up and down. And you pull that knee down towards the ground and let it come back up. Just let your head rest back on the floor. And you got to let your body rock from side to side here. So if you try to keep your pelvis flat on the floor, your knee's not going to get anywhere near the ground. As you pull the knee down, you let your body rock to the right. And it's also helpful to keep your left knee bent and that left foot on the floor. Yeah. Good, looking good. Okay. Pass your right foot over into your left hand, or pass your strap into your left hand. Roll all the way over. You straighten that leg out as fully as you can. And here you should get a stretch up the outside seam of your right leg, into the right buttock, maybe even into the right side of your low back. Pass that foot back over into your right hand, and you flip the leg back around in a half happy baby. So your shin straight up and down, pull it down on the ground. Good, leg comes up, pass your foot over into your left hand and roll over, take your twist. Good, pass the foot back over into your right hand, half happy baby, pull that knee down. Good, and then pass the foot over into your left hand and roll over. Okay, so as you bring your right knee down towards the ground this next time, do a little experiment with straightening that right leg. It does not have to get straight. You want to stop when your hamstrings say, "That's straight enough for me, thank you." And then you bend the leg back up and pass your foot over into your left hand and continue on your way. Good. So now each time you come into half happy baby and you pull the knee down, play with straightening your leg out from there. Good. And so this little sequence is so great for working basically the muscles around the knee, around your hips, and even in your back and your arms. Good. After coming out of your twist the next time, let that right leg go. Good. You can recenter yourself on your mat if you wandered off your mat. And then go ahead and lengthen both legs out. And we're just going to pause here for long enough to notice the difference between your right side and your left side. So paying attention to how it feels in your feet, in your legs, in your hips, and your back. Then we're going to switch sides. Start with both knees bent and your feet resting on the ground, and then bring your left leg into half happy baby. So your ankle is on top of your knee, that shin is straight up and down, and we start with just a pump, just to lubricate that hip joint before we really get moving. So just pump the knee up and down, or pump the shin straight up and down. Good. And then pass your left foot over into your right hand and roll over. Pass your foot back into your left hand, come into half happy baby and pull that knee down. Good. Pass your left foot over into your right hand and roll over. Pass the foot into your left hand, flip it around in a half happy baby and pull the knee down. Good. And one more time. Pass your foot into your right hand, roll over, come into your twist. Pass your foot into your left hand, half happy baby, pull the knee down. From there, do a little experiment with straightening out your leg. Good. And then you can bend the leg back up and pass your foot over into your right hand and roll over again. Good. And then just keep moving from side to side at your own pace. Right, so you're stretching out the back of the thigh, the inner thigh, the outside of the thigh. And also lengthening out those buttock muscles that we just massaged. Good. After you come out of your twist the next time, let go of the legs, straighten both legs out along the ground. Okay. And we'll take a break here for just long enough again to notice any changes to your left side. Okay. Sense your feet, legs, hips, and back, noticing any changes. Okay. So we're going to move up into the back. And for this, you can start by lying back and just take your right hand over to your left hip and start to slide your right hand as close to your left knee as you can. So you let your head and your shoulder come up off the floor and just notice how far you get with this. Good. And then go ahead and release, lower yourself back down. And take your left hand over to your right hip. Start sliding your left hand towards your right knee and notice how far you get, right? And whether you've got more on this side or if you had a little more on the other side. Make a mental note and then come back down to the ground. Good, and you're gonna lie flat back. So let's take out this hollow ball again. And you'll come and lie on your side. I'm going to put a block under my head for this. You might like to do this as well, so my head has a place to rest. The ball's going to go in my right side waist. Right, and you'll lie down and you can rest your head on a block or a bolster or a pile of blocks or whatever makes you comfortable. Right, so at the very start of class, we explored the abodes of the breath, and we felt the abdominal breath. And now we're going to feel the breath in the side wall of your abdomen. So as you breathe in here, feel the right side of your waist expand into the ball. And as you breathe out, feel the ball expand into your waist softening. Good. And then just move your waist from side to side over the ball. So the ball is mushing and smushing its way into your low back, kind of, and then back into the side of your waist. Good. And then park the ball back on your side seam there. And take a big breath in. Actually, bring your left arm onto the left side of your body. So your left hand is just sitting on your left hip here. Good. You're going to take a big breath in and feel your waist expand. Pause at the top of the breath, contract your waist. And as you exhale, reach your left hand for your left foot, coming up into a side bend. So your left waist shortens. Good. You're going to release that and come back down. You can keep your legs bent for balance. So, yeah. And then again, take another big breath in, feel your waist expand into the ball. Pause at the top of the breath, tighten your waist, and as you exhale, come into a side bend, reaching your left hand for your left foot. Good, and go ahead and release and come back down. Big breath in. The top of the breath, pause, cinch your waist in, and as you exhale, reach your left hand for your left foot. Good, and then come on down. And take another big breath in, and at the top of the breath, cinch your waist in, and as you exhale, try to squish the ball in the right side of your waist. So you're shortening your right waist, bringing the hip and the ribs together, and then inhale and soften. And take another big breath in. Pause at the top of the breath, cinch your waist in, and as you exhale, try to scrunch the ball up between your right ribs and hip, shortening your right waist. Right, and as you inhale, you soften. One more time, big breath in. Pause, cinch your waist in, and as you exhale, tighten up the right side of the waist. Good, and then relax. And move the ball up into the right side of your rib cage. Place your left hand on your left ribs. The ball is pressing up against your right ribs. So you're sandwiching your rib cage between your hand and the ball. And again, take a big breath in, feel your side ribs expanding. Pause at the top of the breath and tighten, narrowing up your ribs, squeezing them together. And then exhale and let everything go. Big breath in, feel your ribs expand. The top of the breath, pause, tighten. And exhale, soften and relax. Do that one more time. Big breath in. Pause, tighten. And exhale. And relax. Good. Now take your left leg, swing it out in front of you on the ground. And then you want to take the ball, and like we did the plow with the balls in our buttocks, you want to use this ball to plow the muscles and the tissue on the side of your body. It's like you're trying to push it all onto your back. You're trying to create rolls of back fat. Right, so you're trying to roll all the tissues on the side of your body onto the back of your body, right? Like you're pushing a roll towards your spine. And then come into a twist here. So you roll your left ribs down towards the floor. They don't have to get there. In fact, they can't get there because there's a ball there, right? And you roll your left shoulder back towards the floor. Your left arm could rest on the ground behind you, potentially. Or you just rest your left arm on the side of your rib cage. And take a big breath in, feel your ribs expand. On your exhalation, soften. See if you've got a little more room to twist. Big breath in, ribs expand. And as you exhale, soften. See if you've got some more room to twist. Let's do that one more time. Big breath in. Exhale, soften. And twist. Good. And let's release that. You can take the ball out of your right side and just come and lie down on your back. Oh. And again, we're going to pause here for just long enough to notice changes in your body. Right side versus left side. How do the right ribs feel compared to the left ribs? Is one side of your low back closer to the floor than the other? Right, what else do you notice? Good. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you can take your block. You're going to put the ball in the left side of your waist and rest your head on the brick. Okay, again, knees bent. And just start by smushing the ball from side to side. It's rolling across the side of your waist and moving the muscles in your low back around as well. Good, and then pause with the ball right in the side of your waist. And take a big breath in, feel your waist expand. Pause at the top of the breath, tighten your waist. And as you exhale, soften. Good, take a big breath in. At the top of the breath, pause, tighten. And exhale, soften and relax. And do that one more time. Big breath in. Pause, contract your waist. And exhale, soften. Good. Then bring your right arm to rest on the right side of your body. This time you'll breathe in, expand the waist. Pause at the top, tighten your waist. And as you exhale, reach your right hand for your right foot, shortening the right side of your waist. And as you breathe in, lower down. And again, you're going to inhale, feel your waist expand. Tighten at the top of the breath. And as you exhale, reach for your foot, shortening your right waist. And you release when you're ready. The next inhalation, feel your abdomen expand. Cinch your waist in at the top. And as you exhale, reach for your foot. Good. Release and come back down. Oh, and let's take the ball and move it up into the left side of your rib cage. So your right hand goes on to the right side of your rib cage. If your shoulder and arm don't bend like that, you can just press your forearm into the side of your rib cage so you've got something to move against. And as you breathe in, feel the side walls of your rib cage expanding into your hand, into the ball. Pause at the top. Tighten your ribs up. And then exhale and release. Good. Big breath in. Feel your ribs expand. Pause at the top. Tighten. And exhale, release. One more time. Big breath in. Pause at the top. Tighten. And exhale, release. Good. And I just realized I forgot something in the waist. We need to roll this ball back down into the left side waist so we can squish the ball in the left side waist. I forgot that part. Okay. So again, you're going to breathe in, feel your waist expand. Pause at the top, tighten your waist, and as you exhale, right, tighten your left side waist up and try to squish the ball between your ribs and your hip on the left side. And then inhale and release. And you'll take another big breath in. Pause at the top of the breath. Tighten against the ball. And as you exhale, try to squish the ball between your rib and your hip. Inhale. We'll do that one more time. Big breath in. Pause at the top, tighten your waist, and exhale, try to squeeze the ball between your left hip and your left ribs. And go ahead and release. Okay, now the ball goes back up into your side ribs. And we're going to prepare to take our twist. So right leg comes out in front of you on the ground. You just let the right foot rest on the floor. That leg could be a little bit bent, and it can also be straight. It just depends on what's comfortable for you. And then you go ahead, you're going to try to push the flesh on the left side of your rib cage onto the back of your rib cage as you roll your right ribs back to come into a twist. So you're all getting the sense of what I'm talking about? It's like you're taking the skin on the left side of your body and pushing it towards your spine with the ball. Right arm goes where it's comfortable, whether it's resting on the floor or resting on your body. Good. Take a big breath in, feel your ribs expand against the ball. And on your exhalation, you feel the muscles around your core softening and see if you can access a deeper twist. Big breath in, feel your ribs expand. And as you exhale, feel everything soften. Good. As you complete your next breath, you can release the twist. Take the ball out of your left side. Good. Come and lie down on your back. And take a moment here to assess the changes. How do your left ribs sit on the floor compared to the right side now? Notice how your low back relates to the floor and whether one side sits closer to the ground or if it's a little more even now. And take your right hand over to your left hip. You'll start to reach your right hand towards your left knee. And just notice how far you get with that now. And then release and lower yourself down. And we'll switch sides. Left hand goes over to your right hip. And slide your left hand towards your right knee. And then lower yourself back down. And just let everything go. Okay, so we're going to start talking to the neck and shoulders next. And so you can take the balls back out of the tote. You'll lie back on these balls in just a moment. You're going to place the balls on your shoulder knots. I think we all know where those are. So it corresponds to usually where like the strap of your tank top goes over your shoulder, or your bra strap goes over your shoulder, or your backpack strap. So there is a muscle in here called your trapezius. And the trapezius, it starts at the base of your skull and attaches onto your shoulders. It's what gives this meeting point between your neck and your shoulder its shape. That is the trapezius muscle. And it's actually shaped like a giant kite that's stuck to your back, right? So from the base of the skull, it comes out towards the shoulders, and then it tapers off to a point near the bottom of your rib cage. So it's like a stingray or a kite stuck to your back. So we want to get into the portion of the trapezius here that's talking to your neck. Bend your knees, place your feet down on the ground. And you can bring your hands behind your head. And lacing your hands up, lift your head off the ground. And the hands come off the ground. And from here, you can move your ribs from side to side, shimmy them from side to side so the balls start to roll across these knots. You can also push and pull on the mat with your feet so the balls scrub up and down over those knots. And if you like deep, deep pressure here, you can lift your hips up into the air, and that's going to drive more of your body weight down onto the ball, so they press deeper into you. So you be where it feels right for you. Good. And then we're going to take those balls and slide them together, so that the balls are in your upper back. They're touching one another. And your spine sits in the little valley between the two balls, right where the balls touch. So there's one ball on the left side of your spine, one ball on the right side of your spine, below the stem of your neck. And then we're going to start to move those balls down your back. So again, you could lace your hands up behind your head here. Keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor. And you're just going to inchworm your way towards the head of your mat, towards the back of the room. Right, lifting your hips up and pushing those balls an inch down your back. And then just pause there and take a couple of breaths with the balls in their new location. And push your feet into the floor and move those balls another inch down your back. And take a couple of breaths there with the balls in their new location. And then again, inch the balls down. One more time. And we're going to go the other way. So you pull yourself towards the foot of your mat, just an inch. Take a couple breaths. And pull yourself towards the foot of your mat, another inch. Take a couple breaths. So make sure that you're below the stem of your neck. Right? Pull yourself down another inch if you've got room to do that. Take another couple of breaths. Good. And then bring your chin towards your chest. So you're lengthening out the back of your neck. And then just turn your head and look towards your right elbow. And turn your head and look towards your left elbow. And then bring your nose back to the middle. And you can lay your head back and take the balls and remove them from your upper back. And just pause here and breathe. And observe sensation in your upper back, right in that space between the shoulder blades. Good. And then turn over onto one side. And come on up into sitting. And we'll take out the inflatable ball. And we're just going to finish this off by going into the anterior neck, the front of the neck. I'll take this off. So you start by turning your head to the right, and you pin the ball into the left side of your neck. You can hold that with both hands. So you're going to drag the ball down towards your right collarbone. As you do that, turning your head over to the left, right? So the ball goes one way, the head goes the other way. Good, and then you reset that ball on the right side of the neck. So it's kind of just under your ear. And then you drag the ball across the front of your neck over to your left collarbone. And as you do that, your head turns to the other side. Good. And just keep going back and forth there. So again, it's like you're trying to have the feeling that you're like dragging the skin on your neck, right, from the side of the neck down towards your collarbone. And then same thing on the other side. There's a muscle in here. It's one of my favorite muscles. It's called the platysma. The platysma helps you make facial expressions. And the facial expression that it's involved in is actually this.
That's your favorite.
You can see why, right? It's like, wow, we have a muscle that does that. That's its job. That's its whole reason for being. So if you spend a lot of time looking horrified or disgusted, that's the muscle that you use for that. All right, so we want to make sure it's in good shape so you can show your horror and disgust.
I think we should all practice that.
Yeah, we will after this. So we're gonna loosen it up, and then we're gonna exercise it. Okay, that's good. But the muscles on the front of the neck, they also get short and tight. So if you spend a lot of time on technology, like doing, all of this gets locked short and tight as well. So that may just like feel it liberates everything. Even it talks to the tissues again on the sides of the neck and on the back of the neck. So the throat is just the front of your neck, and your neck is just the back of your throat, right? It's all connected. Okay, so let's all do it. Excellent. It's your platysma. So there you go. Now you have a party trick. All right, let's come down onto our backs, and we'll prepare for Shavasana. So make yourselves comfortable. And observe how your body is contacting the floor. Right? And if you notice that one side feels heavier, something feels oddly asymmetrical, you can make a little adjustment to your position and try to even things out. More important than symmetry, though, is your comfort. So you fidget around until you feel comfortable enough to relax. And bring attention down into your abdomen. And sense your belly rising and falling with each breath. And bring awareness up into your ribs, feeling movement in and around your rib cage. The ribs lifting and spreading as you inhale. And then softening and draping downward as you exhale. And bring awareness up into your chest. Feel your breastbone rising and falling. And on your next inhalation, feel yourself fill up from your belly into your ribs and your collarbones. On your exhalation, feel yourself empty out, collarbones to ribs to belly. And stay in touch with this feeling of your breath rising and falling in continuous waves. Good. Take a few deeper breaths, and we're going to prepare ourselves to start moving. Whenever you're ready, you can make your way up into a comfortable seat. Okay, thanks for joining me for practice today. Namaste.
Namaste.